Hey y'all, today we're going to take a deeper look at our interval studies, and we're specifically going to study the intervals of fourths, fifths, and sixths on the neck. I'm also going to introduce you to a fingering for the major scale that some people refer to as symmetrical fingering because of the fact that it uses 3 notes per string. And in that way, it covers 2 octaves in a fourth on the neck. Another aspect of this fingering that's symmetrical, besides the fact that we're just playing 3 notes on each string, is that each 2-string group, I'm using the same fingering. Like on 6 and 5, I'm doing my stretch fingering. On the 4th string and 3rd string, I'm playing 1, 2, 4 fingering. I'm adjusting to 5th position on the 2nd string, and I'm playing 1, 3, 4 on the 1st and the 2nd strings. Once again, to show you the scale pattern before I get into our interval studies, here's my G major. And we're playing the whole range. When I get into 4 studies on the neck, I first want to get into the concept of the roll. A roll is usually when you're playing your finger on one string on the tip and then rolling sort of to the center of the finger on the next string. We're playing fourths. That's super helpful because the guitar is tuned in fourths. So most of the time, fourth motion works exactly that way on the neck. When I get to the next 2 strings, though, I have to compensate because of the tritone that happens there. Then I'm back to rolling. When we get to the 2nd and 3rd strings, you also have to compensate for the tuning of the 2nd string by moving up 1 fret, but our first 2 strings were back to the roll. If you watch my previous videos, my suggestion to get more out of interval studies is to try to keep the interval static, meaning my interval is always going to be ascending or descending, or I'll use contoured as well, but that's going to stay the same whether I'm going up or down the scale. Coming down the scale with ascending fourths sounds something like this. The reverse of that might be where I'm playing fourths descending, but I'm going up and down the scale with the descending fourths. That would sound something like this. This now takes me to fifths. When you're looking at fifths with the symmetrical fingering, you're going to notice that you're going to cross strings on the first 2. And in this case, they both look like a power chord because of the fact that it's a perfect fifth. But the 3rd of each group is always going to skip a string in between and play across what I think of as the 3-note cells. On the next strings, it would be the same. First 2 look like power chords. Then I'm skipping a string in between. On strings 4 and 5, I'm starting with a tritone, then a perfect fifth, then skip my strings. Here I have to stretch 1 fret larger because of the tuning difference of the 2nd string, then skip string. And that's my ascending fifths. When I'm coming back down, I'll keep that ascending, but I'm coming down the scale. The reverse of that is going to be a descending fifth going up and down the scale, and that's going to look and sound like something like this. The other advantage to practicing the scale this way is that when I'm coming down the scale with an ascending interval, I'm actually playing the next interval study that I'm going to have in between, meaning that if my fifth is here, my next note down is going to be a 6th actually. Then I'm going up a 5th, down a 6th, up a 5th, down a 6th. So by the time I get into my 6th studies, I've actually already played those fingerings in between my fifths when you see that. To go on with the 6th though, the 6ths work on cross strings only on the first of the 3 cells, but the next 2 will skip a string in between to make the 6th happen on those notes. When I get to the fifth string, same thing. Start with a stretch, then skipping strings in between. Here I've got not a stretch because it's in fourth position, but still first finger to pinky. Then cross strings, I'm electing to roll. When I come back down the scale, I'm going to keep the sixth interval going ascending. I'll then practice the reverse of that. The reverse is going to have my sixth going descending while I'm going up the neck.